So let's talk a little bit about a holistic job search and what I mean by a holistic job search. And for those of you that have followed me for a while, you'll know I always go back to dictionary definition when we're talking about new concepts. So let's start there. What is the definition of holistic? Holistic means that it is characterized by the belief that the parts of something are interconnected and can be explained only by reference to the whole. That just absolutely characterizes my belief in a holistic job search. So what happens typically is someone will get into the market and say, oh, I need a CV writer. Okay, so let's do my CV up, let's fix my CV and go, 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 go. Guys, you're addressing one part of your job search. You're addressing one part of the strategy in your pursuit for finding a new job. Now, I believe in looking at the new job holistically. How do all those parts speak to the whole? Okay. Oh, I love this definition. It just works for me. And you are here to understand how to bring those parts together without ever losing sight of the bigger picture. And you'll know as we go through this program, often I'm going to say to you, what is your purpose here? What is the purpose for that email? What is the purpose for that call? What is your bigger purpose? What is your smaller purpose? What do you want to achieve? And you use that to answer the question how you're about to achieve it. Okay, so let's come back to holistic job search. Guys, a CV is but one small aspect of the job search. Do you agree that if you've got an amazing CV, but you interview really badly, you're going to struggle to find a job? Okay, do you agree that you might have a brilliant personality, but you might have some skeletons in your closet on social media? And friends, we live in the digital age. It's probably going to impact your ability to find a job. So I need you to think of everything that contributes to this big picture that is called job search, career fulfillment. You guys are here because you are after the dream job. Let's not forget that, okay? And let's look at how every aspect contributes to bringing it together. Now, what I want to do is I have, over the last couple of years and through my coaching and through working with clients and all the rest of it, I have come down, I've managed to bring this holistic job search concept down to 4 pillars. And I really believe that if we address each of these 4 pillars successfully and cohesively, you will find your dream job. It's a no-brainer. It's a question of if you do the exercise, you will get the result. You know me, I've always said you will get the result, but I can't tell you how long it's going to take. That's where the magic comes into the equation. Okay, but you will get the job. Follow the steps and you will get the job. So let's look at those 4 principles or those 4 pillars. Number 1, clarity. Guys, you have to know who you are. You have to know the value you bring to the table. You have to know what differentiates you. You have to be able to define yourself from a career perspective before you can put out a CV, before you can go for an interview, before you can start negotiating salary. Because how do you negotiate salary if you don't know what you're worth? You know, so we have to go through the clarity component. And what you put in is what you get out. In the clarity component, I'm going to ask you to ask yourself the big questions, to really reflect, to contemplate, to think about your purpose, to really embrace it. But you have to get to an answer with the clarity component. Who are you? What is the value you add? What are your differentiators? How do you set yourself apart? Important. Step 1, okay? Pillar number 2. We call it, or I call it communication or collateral. And it's really effectively looking at how do you communicate your clarity on your collateral. I know there's a lot of C's in that sentence. I love that particular sentence. So let's just break it down a second. Now that you've decided who you are, what your value add is, what you're worth, what you're not worth, where you're going, once you've made all of those big calls, now what we need to do is draw up said CV. Now we need to make sure that said CV is addressing and communicating your clarity. Because again, how do you throw a CV out into the job market full of things that say, I need job? Who are you? What job do you want? Okay, so we've got to make sure that your collateral communicates your clarity. Are we getting it? Now, in addition, I talk a lot about CV under the communication and the collateral section because your CV is a very, very big part. Or your CV, your resume, we use the words interchangeably. I'm from South Africa. If you're watching from the US, forgive me. When I talk about CV, I'm talking about a resume, okay? So it's absolutely interchangeable. It's the same thing. In Latin, CV means course of life. It is that document that dictates your course of your life, okay? And that's that thing that we use in job applications. But I digress. We also need to look at, in this communication section, we also need to look at your LinkedIn profile. Very, very, very big component in terms of how you are being perceived in the job market. Remember, this section is all about communication. How are you communicating your intention in the job market out there? LinkedIn forms a big part of that. We need to look at LinkedIn. We also need to look at those little known things that not everyone, actually, that 1% of people pay attention to when they go into the job market. Voicemail, answering phone, how you communicate on the phone, how you email, your email tone, your email address, your email signature. Anything that can be used as a means to judge you or to peg you in the job market is or falls under communication. We need to look at all of that. We need to check all of those boxes and make sure that you are communicating with one voice, strong in who you are. Okay, so that's pillar number 2. Pillar number 3, we need to look at a strategy. You know the old adage, fail to plan, you're planning to fail, friends. If you don't plan, you're not going to succeed. You might hit a blind luck. You know what? It happens. It absolutely happens. But you need to plan your job search, okay? You need to plan your strategy. This is what strategy is all about. It's simply a plan. Okay, what we do in this component is we look at the 2 very distinct job markets. There is a bona fide job market and there is a hidden job market. On the bona fide or on the advertised job market, you've got a 2% chance of being interviewed. Whereas in the hidden job market, up to 80% of all hires are word of mouth hires. So friends, you need to play across both job markets. How many applicants are only playing in the advertised job market? You see an advert, you apply. You see an advert, you apply. You see an advert, you apply. But what are you doing here? What are you doing in the hidden job market? Okay, so in this section or in this module, what we're going to do is we're really going to dive into your strategy for both. When you're applying, how do you maximize your application? And when there is no position advertised, how do you get in front of the company of your choice? If you have decided you want to work for Nestle with a sore heart, because there's something about Nestle that speaks to you, that resonates with you, how do you get in there? Do you wait for them to advertise, or do you proactively introduce yourselves to them? Now, I am firmly of the opinion that we need to be proactive in the job market, and I'll teach you how. Okay, so that is strategy. And then the final pillar, number 4, is networking. Networking, again, I'm going to go back to dictionary definition. Dictionary definition of networking is quite simply an exchange of ideas, of intellectual property, of contacts, of introductions, of advice. Can you see where I'm going with this? That is such a rich definition of what networking is. Yet, when people get into the job market, they think, oh, I must network. And networking means I must phone everyone I know and say to them, hello, I'm in the job market. Do you know of anything? That's not networking. That's begging. So that's basically saying, hi, I need help. Can you help me? And hoping somewhere, somehow, someone is going to say, yes, of course. And again, you can hit a luck. And that can work. And I'm not saying that as a strategy that doesn't work. But I'm saying that as a strategy, networking is so much more than that, okay? So I believe in networking from a value add perspective. I teach you through going through all of these pillars how to start positioning yourself as a value add. Position yourself as a solution to their problems. and network from this position, because then you're networking from a position of power. Then what you're doing is when you have a networking meeting, you're having an exchange of ideas. You're adding value to them. They're adding value to you. You're actually having a real conversation, God forbid, where not one person is asking and the other one is going, not today, thank you. That's not what networking is, okay? So I'm going to teach you how to unpack this beautiful thing that's called networking. But then second to that, I believe that we need to build a culture of networking into our lives. We need to get into a position or get into a lifestyle, into a habit where we network for the rest of our lives. Because friends, if you unlock this and if you learn how to network successfully and ongoing, you will never look for another job in your life, because it'll just flow, it'll just happen. So build a culture of networking into your life, and I'm going to teach you how. That, my friends, is what I mean by when I say holistic job search. We need to look at everything. And I haven't even mentioned interviews, but interviews does fall under the communication module at this point in time. So everything needs to be factored in together. When you check these 4 boxes and when you apply your mindset to all 4 of these boxes as you go through this process, the power is incredible. And I'm telling you today, the power is in your hands. You have control over your job search. What are you going to do with it? There it is. Game on.